our team, our community. This is CondorsTown, and this is another Energy Condors connection. Now, here's Erik Fox and Ryan Holt.
Wait, is off-season over? Time to wake up. It's CondorsTown. What's up? It's Erik Fox from Energy 95.3. The guy on the other side of the screen, which it feels like we should be writing like Civil War letters because it's been so long since we communicated. But it's Ryan Holt from the Bakersfield Condors. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great. Yeah, we're a couple days away from the home opener. It's the season's definitely here.
I'm glad it's finally here because you know what, we've taken our time getting here. Why we did not quite have the summer we normally have here in the Valley. It's nice to feel that chillier temperatures as we walk into the Mechanics Bank Arena to experience CondorsTown once again here in B-Town. And of course, season 26 is here. A lot to talk about with that, but of course, we always talk about the parent organization first. So let's get started with that. We talk about the Edmonton Oilers. Let's be honest, not necessarily the start we hope to see. When we went into it, a lot of people were saying the Oilers are the team to watch in the Pacific. Vancouver really had their number, but that really doesn't say what's going to happen, right?
Well, I mean, thankfully they don't hand out the Stanley Cup in October, so I think the Oilers will be fine. Vander Kane was pretty funny the other day when he said, "Oh, you know, we're 32nd in the league. We're the last team in the league. Everybody panics." So nobody wants to get off to a slow start, but I'm not too worried about Edmonton. These things happen, and they'll be just fine. I think the storyline early on for the Oilers from a Condors perspective is Edmonton, just based off salary cap and how things are finagled, can only carry 21 players. Normally, you carry 23 players. Just about every team in the league carries 23 players. So that means that in addition to call-ups, guys who are up and down, the Condors are going to have two basically full-time NHL players here in Bakersfield, barring injuries, pretty much the entire season. So that's the storyline, I think, early on. And, that's the exciting part for, myself and for this organization. It's exciting for the organization just because of all the depth you have now at the AHL level, which, only is a good thing. So, a little bit of a slow start for the Oilers. Tough opening night in Vancouver. I thought they outplayed the Canucks the other night on that Saturday game. But, it's just a matter of figuring it out, and they'll be all right. They play Nashville tonight.
Let's talk about what happened during the offseason, because obviously we want to talk about that as we get into the season. As a fan of the number 32 team at the end of last season, I can understand what the feel is right now, but let's not put too much in front of that there. So what kind of happened in the offseason with the Oilers? Because obviously, I mean, they had an amazing season last season. Not necessarily the outcome they wished, but what work did they do in the offseason? What moves happened which we need to be aware of?
Yeah, I think you're seeing, with Edmonton, kind of what you saw with Tampa Bay, with Boston, with Chicago. The Kings are kind of the outlier in the last, let's say, 10, 15 years of a team that just kind of burst on the scene and all of a sudden won the Cup. The Lightning had to go through trials and tribulations to win the Cup. Bruins, same way. Blackhawks, same way. Get a couple conference finals, kind of feel that Avalanche same way. And now what you're seeing, is the Oilers are right in that cusp. I mean, top 4 or 5 team in the league. They're going to be in that mix, and, we'll see what happens at the end of it. But this offseason, they went out and got Connor Brown, who obviously played with Connor McDavid and Jr., and has had a great NHL career. And a guy who, again, is plug and play, kind of fill around the periphery, because you have your core, you have your nucleus. It's how can you complement those guys? Defensively, it's pull up a lot from what the Condors were. Darnay went up last year, but Broberg's up there full time now. You're not really bringing in much on the back end because you're elevating guys from Bakersfield, which is great to see. Right. So you don't have to do too much. Again, it was filling in. You have your goaltending tandem. It's about those pieces. And listen, we have 3 or 4 guys here in Bakersfield who will probably see time in Edmonton at some point. And there's probably 2 or 3 guys in Edmonton who will probably see time in Bakersfield at some point. And that crop of 6 or 7 guys is kind of filling in the periphery for based off of what maybe the team needs at some point, or maybe what the coaching staff wants for their team at some point. So that's where the Oilers are right now. I mean, they're pot committed with who they have. With Draisaitl, McDavid, Nurse, Nugent Hopkins. The list goes on and on. It's about filling out the periphery and elevating guys from Bakersfield to have an impact.
I think one thing that's really interesting and is really important, especially when we watch here in CondorsTown, is like the players in which we're seeing on the ice here in Baco. There's a really good chance. I mean, even behind the bench, they move their staff up too. What you see in Baco will go into the NHL major time, where when we were ECHL, we didn't quite see that, but now we do. Where literally, like, we are the pipeline to the big leagues.
Yeah, the road to Edmonton goes through Bakersfield. And, I saw a stat that said, all but one player in Edmonton played in the American Hockey League, and that one player is Connor McDavid. Everybody else played in the American Hockey League on the Oilers opening night roster. And then you look at what the Condors themselves have produced and just being able to get to the next level. You look at Bouchard, Broberg, Desharnais, up front,
Even
McLeod. The coaches. I mean, so everyone is whether you spent a week here, a couple months here, or a couple of years here in a case of McLeod or a Bouchard or a Desharnais. And what's cool about it is you're not just seeing, the Dylan Holloways of the world get to the NHL. He's a first-round pick. He's going to get every opportunity in the world to get to the NHL and play in the NHL. But you're seeing the guys who, maybe weren't thought of as NHLers. Desharnais, Hamlin played 10 games last year. Brad Malone gets a shot again at the NHL after 4 or 5 years away from the NHL. So that's the type of story that you're seeing with the Condors. That's been really cool. And Stuart Skinner too. I mean, he was a 3rd-round pick. I mean, he was 4th on the goaltending depth chart in the prospect pool not too long ago. I mean, I remember COVID year, we're playing golf at Kern River with, Ollie Rodriguez and Stuart Skinner every other day because that's all we could do. We were kind of locked down, and it was myself and our strength coach, Brian Gans at the time, Skinner and Rodriguez, and we had USA versus Canada. I mean, every other day, and that was 3 years ago. Like
right here in B-Town.
And Skinner was not what he is now. And, in terms of the rankings. So it's crazy how things can change. It's great to see. We go back through old pictures and stuff all the time, and it's great to see the guys grow up and go on to bigger and better things.
It's one of the great things about here in B-Town with the CondorsTown is the fact in which we have that pipeline. It is so deeply connected, and I want to transition with that and talk about what's going on here and the season ahead. First of all, let's talk. First of all, congratulations. I think we got to point out Ryan Holt, big promotion in the offseason.
Oh, huge. Absolutely huge.
So let's talk about, first of all, I mean, obviously we want to talk about the players and what's going to be on the ice, but let's talk on the back office as well. Some big changes, including yourself, my friend.
Yeah, we got a great group here, upstairs, and we've hired some new folks over the summer here that's only going to make us even better, and some great stuff that you'll see on and off the ice throughout the season. Just being able to elevate us and to make it, bigger and better is, I think, kind of our mandate and keep, doing what we've been doing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But, be able to fine tune some stuff and make some stuff a little cooler and make some stuff a little, newer and kind of transition that way. So, excited to be a part of it. I mean, this has been 24/7 for me for the better part of my life here. So, just excited for it.
I'm glad for that. And obviously, even at the top of the organization, you're over your head a little bit, changes up there with Justin coming in, right?
Yeah. And Justin's been here for 20 years. So, knows us, intimately and, has been a big part of the fabric of this organization and, someone who, can definitely help us move forward.
Love that. Let's talk on the on-ice situation. Obviously, the offseason always brings changes because, nothing is ever stagnant when it comes to hockey. What changes are we looking on the ice this year?
Yeah, I think you have to be excited for Condors fan. I mentioned, 2 full-time NHLers in any other organization are here in Bakersfield. You can pick whichever ones you want. There's probably a crop of about 4 or 5 of them, that would be full-time NHLers if the Oilers could, salary cap-wise, have them in Edmonton. You bring in Lane Peterson, who he was a goal per game player in the American Hockey League last year. I mean, he should be in the NHL, but again, salary cap, things moving up and down and ingredients. And at one point he'll play for the Oilers this year. There's no doubt about it. And, he's, he scored opening night against Coachella Valley. We go down there, we beat them, the defending, Western champs in their building in a sold out place. I mean, that speaks volumes, I think, to, early on, the character of the team. That's probably a game last year, this time of the year, maybe goes the other way. And it's great to see us, pull that out last week against Coachella Valley. Offensively, I mean, Drake Kajula was injured in the game. He's going to be out for a little bit. So, but again, he's a name you're going to see in the future here, with the Condors, adding into the likes of Seth Griffith and Brad Malone and James Hamlin and Raphael Lavoie. This is a high-powered Condors offensive group. Fill it in with the guy like Xavier Bourgault in his second year, Ty Tulio in his second year, Carter Savoy in his second year. Those guys combined for 35 goals last year. Can they combine for 50 goals this year? I think so. And then defensively, Noel Hoffenmeyer won the game the other night on a one-timer. Late in the game, he's an addition on the back end. Ben Gleason's an addition on the back end. Those are guys with pretty good AHL pedigrees. You add in Cam Dineen, who we acquired last season, late in the year, a guy who's going to run the power play basically all season. And that's solid. You add in Marcus Niemelainen and Phil Kemp as kind of the meat and potatoes back there, and you get yourself a pretty good decor. And then goaltending is, I've never worried about goaltending less than this year with Calvin Pickard and Ollie Rodrigue, two top 10 goalies last season in save percentage. Pickard, for my money, has been the best American Hockey League goaltender for the last decade. You can argue that point if you want, but Pickard is, he's a perfect veteran. He's a guy that, he would wear an A on his sweater or C on his sweater if he could. They don't do that anymore with goaltenders, but, pretty great ambassador to have here in Bakersfield. He'll probably see some time in Edmonton too at some point with injuries and stuff, but Ollie Rodrigue having a great year last year was big for the organization. So both goaltenders have been great. Just need to play some games to get them both in because we only have like 5 games until November. So,
well, people who have heard the commercial of the year are kind of like, hey, we got our first game coming up this weekend. But no, like you just said, we already had our first game. And let's talk about that game a little bit in Coachella Valley, which is, I mean, last season, that team seemed to have our number sometimes. But which we were able to go through, and every single period of that game, we had a score. They came back, and it became an interesting game in the third, but we held them off in the end. And what was the vibe there?
Yeah, just, it was great to play another team. The guys have been playing each other pretty much, for the better part of the last 4 weeks. But I think you saw a little bit of what you're going to see, I think, over the course of the season is, Lane Peterson, if he's here full season, he's going to score 25 goals. Like, just pencil it in, just mark it down. James Hamlin scored 10 last year. He scored 20 the year prior. I put him kind of in that 15 to 20, role. His role has changed a little bit. He's not needed necessarily as that high-end guy anymore, but he's a guy who's going to kill penalties, play on the power play a bit. He scored the other night. And I thought you saw Raphael Lavoie dominate the game. I know he didn't score yet an assist, but he dominated the game at times. And that's what we saw in the second half of the year was Lavoie dominating hockey games. And at the end of the year, he was scoring a goal every game. But, if he's here full year, and again, I don't know if he will be, but again, another guy, pencil him in, 25 goals. So, that's what you're looking for. And it's kind of like the Moneyball adage, right? Like, what did you lose last year and what do you gain? What did you lose for goals and what did you gain for goals? And I think we gained goals more than we lost goals off the roster. And I think we defended goals better than we, had last year as well, too. So on paper, things look great, but you got to go out and play the games. And great to see us, that's a tough place to go and opening night and all the hysterics and, come in with a win.
I don't know if we have fantasy hockey for AHL, but if people do have fantasy hockey leagues for AHL, what are the names that everyone need to have on their rosters?
Yeah, Peterson, Lavoie. You can pencil in Seth Griffith for 20 goals too. I didn't even mention him, but just pencil him in. And then defensively, Cam Dineen should lead the team in scoring for a D-man. Him and Ben Gleason will probably, battle for that just because of the power play time. But, Dineen's an elite AHL defenseman for the last 3-4 years, a guy who's on the cusp of earning an NHL full-time deal. And then same thing with Ben Gleason, a guy who's been in Texas the last 4 or 5 years and, gets a shot in a fresh organization and fresh eyes. And, he'll have a great year as well, too.
Let's talk ahead because obviously Saturday night is opening night, which is energy night there at CondorsTown. So obviously you guys are taking on the Ontario Reign, which has already been a team in which there's been some, some feistiness between the two leagues. Or two teams, so it's nice to actually see that. What should people expect on Saturday?
Yeah, 4:30. We've got the player red carpet starting. So the guys will come in suits and their normal arrival, and we'll kind of have it like a movie premiere, except it's a Condors premiere, right? And guys will sign autographs, take pictures, and kind of walk the red carpet as if they were movie stars, and then they'll get ready for the game. We've got the party on the plaza pregame as well too, until doors open. So beer garden out there, games, food, fun. All that type of stuff until 6 o'clock. Doors open at 6, and then the puck drops at 7. And yeah, it's opening night for us. A lot going on. We got some new stuff to work out, some kinks to work out, and we'll get there for Saturday night, and it should be a lot of fun.
Always going to be fun. And of course, we have your chance to win tickets right now at energy953.com. But if you don't win tickets that way, how do people get tickets?
Condors.com. Fun starts at $15 this year, and it should be a great time, all year long. And appreciate the support of everybody, and looking forward to dropping the puck on a home season Saturday. And our commercial said that summer's over and the temperatures are getting colder, but I think it's gonna be 95 on Saturday. So we may have lied on that one, but
we got you cooling down for the weekend. We're supposed to be in like the 80s, so you should.
That works for me. Yeah, we'll be cool in the arena, so that works. So it should be a lot of fun, and a great way to kick it off with a solo Saturday game. So. Kind of the only show in town here this weekend, and ready to get it going.
Love that. CondorsTown is back here, and once again, season 26 is about to kick off. Puck dropping once again this Saturday, and it is Energy 95.3 night. Looking forward to seeing all the fun out there with all of our fans, including Energy fans and Condors fans, because it's always a good time when we all connect up. So looking forward to that. Ryan Holt, man, it has been too long, my friend. I know you've been crazy busy with the new position and everything, and I'm really glad to be able to connect up with you.
We're back.
We are back, and once again, every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Obviously, we're going to have some tweaks through the season, as traveling is that little bug. So we'll see what Ryan Holt experiences when it comes to both random hotel rooms and random gastrointestinal fun or whatever we have here. So
that sounded weird.
Man, 26 seasons, and we are back in CondorsTown. I have been waiting, and hopefully, at least for the team I follow on the upper end, it's going to be a little less painful this year.
Not a chance. They're the worst.
Oh, thank you. I'm just letting
you know.
Always giving all the Ducks love. At least they won last night, so at least that was a good thing. So,
great.
Anyways, Ryan Holt for the Bakersfield Condors. My name is Erik Fox from Energy 95.3. We'll catch you next week with another edition of your Energy Condors Connection. See you then.